If you are somebody applying to a lot of jobs and receiving no callbacks, or even worse, you're getting the interviews and ghosted afterwards, this video is going to be perfect for you. This is 3 reasons why you are not getting that entry-level job. Now, I'm going to briefly go through exactly how to do this step by step, and I'm actually going to transition over right now. And by the way, these are the strategies that we are actively mentoring and teaching students to get jobs. Just in the last week, we've helped about 2 to 3 students be placed in close to 6-figure ranges, one person over 6 figures. So pay close attention, and this is also my exact career trajectory, but we'll talk more about that later. So we're looking over here. I believe in conceptual mapping. So we're going to focus on the first thing right now, which is, hey, these are the 3 reasons why you won't get hired as an entry-level developer. Now, before we go in, the first thing I want to focus on is this is the goal here. You want to build a meaningful career where you can earn $75,000 within the next 24 months. And if you're somebody who wants to do that, this is why you're here. Now, to do that, I do have a couple requirements, right? The first requirement is this is going to take about 24 months for you to accomplish. It's really important that you expect that and accept that that's an understanding. Number 2, this is going to take about 20 hours a week. Now, within that 20 hours is listening to audiobooks, podcasts, YouTube videos. These are things that you could kind of double task or dual task or multitask while you're doing other projects or even working. You have to have an obsession to change your life. I'm going to be very transparent. If you are somebody, and I'm going to switch this over real quickly just so I can have a little bit of a dramatic theme to this. If you're somebody coming from a low-income community, if you are somebody coming from a minority community, you're already a couple steps back behind, right? You're not your middle or high-income individual, white male, just trying to make it in the world. You got a little bit more setbacks than everybody else. Okay, now that you understand that, for you to make this transition and truthfully change your life, you have to have an understanding. If you don't have an obsession with this dream, it will not be possible, and you will not be able to sustain that 20 hours a week. Lastly, you have to have a willingness to read about 10 books over that 24-month time period. What we found, these are the 4 check marks. You hit these 4 check marks, you can achieve success. It's pretty black and white. So if you are willing to do this, then let's talk about the 3 reasons you will not get hired as an entry-level software engineer, marketer, sales rep, quality assurance rep, whatever those things are, right? Whatever they are, you have to have these 3 things. So we're going to go into reason number 1. Now, reason number 1 is the professional gap. Now, realistically, this is just a mismatch between the skills you have now and the skills that you need to realistically do that job relatively well. Now, in other words, and I love this analogy real quickly, you need experience to get the job, but you need a job to get experience. It's this weird little paradigm. So here's how we teach our students how to bridge what we call the professional gap. Now, the way that we teach them is, first and foremost, you need to earn income while you're learning. During that 24-month period of learning your skill, you need to be doing that. Now, unfortunately, there's a handful of you watching this right now who have done your learning already, which means that you're kind of in a back against the wall, you need to get a job position. What I want to refer you back to is the 24-month period. Now, if you started learning 24 months ago, did you put in 20 hours a week? If you didn't, it's time to probably reset that 24-month period with realistic expectations. It's not the thing you probably want to hear, but it's the realistic expectation. We pride ourselves, and especially I pride myself off, giving you the honest truth, not just something that's going to make you feel good. So this is how you earn income while you learn. You want to leverage these 4 things. And by the way, we're going to have dedicated videos explicitly covering this. I'm just going to be mostly pointing out right now the 3 reasons why most people do not get hired for entry-level jobs. So if you need to earn income while you're learning, one of the first things you could look into is Upwork. This is where we specialize teaching a lot of our students. Number 2 is Fiverr. We have a handful of students having a lot of success on Fiverr. Number 3 is Facebook/Discord groups. This is actually where I got my first big project and job. I got a job paying $750 a week from a Facebook group. In addition, I got my first job paying $69,750. I know it's ridiculous, but that is where I got my first job, all from Facebook groups. They're incredibly powerful. Same thing for Discord groups. One of the ways we found one of our mentors for our community was through Discord. These are incredibly powerful tools. You just need to learn how to get in the right groups. And finally, friends and family. Do you know friends or family that need jobs done? They need websites built, they need software, they have all these ideas, right? Now, let's say you are looking through all these things and you're finding some opportunities, but there's the downside, right? No one wants to work with you. So here's this technical partner aspect. I'll get to it in a second. But what I want to focus on here is the skin in the game lever. This is the lever you're going to have to pull to get your opportunities as a freelancer and to earn while you learn. So the skin in the game lever is exclusively this aspect of how can you create a deal where the person you're working with gets this massive risk reward benefit, right? So what I recommend to everybody who's working on getting their first 1 to 3 freelance projects is that when they go to work with you, you don't charge anything and you guarantee they get what they want. So if they're not happy, you don't charge them a single thing. Here's what's going to happen. When you work off the skin in the game framework, you have to understand you're going to work with the lowest quality people. It's just kind of it's the work that you have to put in when you're first getting started. You're not going to like these people, most likely. In fact, they're pretty unbearable to work with. They're going to ask for change after change after change. They're not going to know shit. They're typically terrible to work with. But this is part of what it means to bridge the professional gap. See, the thing is, a lot of people are applying to entry-level jobs, and the reason why no one wants to work with them is because they never put in those grind hours working for terrible clients. This is your chance to do that. Now, what I recommend to everybody is reach out, and we'll talk about this in reason number 2, but most importantly, just to really hit this home. You want to find people that you can work with and say, hey, listen, this is what I want to recommend. I want to come in, I want to rebuild your entire website. I want to connect your POS system to this e-commerce system, to this lead platform system, to this CRM. I want to do all of this for you. And I don't want you to pay me a dime unless it improves your business operations. Does that seem like a fair deal? That's a simple offer. The second offer could be for a marketer. I'm going to come in, I'm going to create 50 pieces of content for you that we're going to post over the next 2 weeks. And if you see growth, if you see success from that, maybe we can have a conversation about an ongoing retainer afterwards. Does that seem fair? Exactly. So the big aspect and the thing that the hurdle that a lot of people face when trying to bridge the professional gap, the biggest hurdle they face at the end of the day is that it's the entitlement curse, right? When we first get started, one of the hardest things about it is we don't like being told no. We don't like being told you're not good enough, and it's incredibly fucking painful. I get it. But you have to understand that the reason why a lot of people can't bridge the professional gap is because they're not willing to drop that ego and be told and dealing with really terrible clients, which is kind of what you have to do. So if you are capable when first starting off doing these things, you're going to have a lot of success. Now, a little bit of a cheat code for all the software engineers out here. You want to sell yourself as a technical partner for all of your projects. And essentially all that means is you want to be the guy that takes all the technical problems off their plate. You are going to be the guy or girl who's going to step in, build the landing pages, the website, the CRM, the POS systems, the XYZ, 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 XYZ. And you're going to do it at no cost. And one of the goals of a technical partner is not to build custom code solutions, but rather write tool for the job solutions. And all that means is if somebody wants a new website, you don't go custom code it. What you go is you go build it with something like ClickFunnels or landing pages or Unbounce or even WordPress. You go build it with something where you can get the solution up and running like that, and you can charge them a much lower fee because you're doing a lot less work. The benefit of that is what you're looking for during the professional gap, especially for an entry-level developer, is not necessarily coding experience, but professional experience communicating with somebody. And what we're going to learn in reason 3 is that the higher your communication skills are, the lower your development skills are. We have a lot of students within Devslopes, for example, have exceptionally high coding skills. In fact, one of the best coding students we've ever produced is struggling to get a job. And the reason why is because communication and soft skills aren't near as high. Meaning when we put him in a team environment, he's going to struggle a lot more. And you're understanding everything that you do is built upon being a team member, not just about what you can individually produce. Something to really keep in mind. That's what the professional gap is about. A lot less about you not having experience and a lot more about do you have professional experience dealing with a lot of weird circumstances. Fun fact, that's why people like teachers or anybody that's had to deal with bureaucracy, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, anybody who's had to deal with those really social, like high social circumstances is able to make a job transition faster because they understand how to deal with hierarchies and things along those lines. Now, reason number one, right, is the professional gap. Now, reason number one on the 3 reasons you can't get hired or you won't get hired, right? Now, let's move into reason number 2, and that is your job search strategy. Do you have a good strategy to search for those jobs, acquire them, and land them? Well, we're going to walk you through this real quickly. Now, this is the approach, obviously, you take to find a job. Now, number 1, the first reason, is you have ineffective applications. So you're sending the same resume to every job and you're not tailoring applications. This is where our job coaching really starts to separate from the pack, right? If you go to LinkedIn, you're going to find a lot of recruiters and a lot of losers and quitters telling you, you need to just go apply it. Don't try to ever specialize stuff. Just apply. And you might be wondering, Nathan, why did you use such harsh words? Losers and quitters? Because that's what they are. You're fucking losers and quitters. I'm not going to take this lightly. I take my responsibility to mentor you to help people make career transitions very seriously. You have to understand, to get your foot in the door, you have to put all of the work in. And you need to understand there's one unspoken rule. And this is a rule. The unspoken rule of getting your entry-level job is that all of the rules, everything is set against you. Nothing is in your favor. The game is not set up for you to win, right? The odds are for you to not get a job. Just transparently, the odds are not in your favor. Hundreds of people or tens of people are applying this job. Why should they pick you? So understanding that the rules are not in your favor and the game was not built for you, it was built for the employer, you then have to understand, what do I need to do to stand out? The first thing is take time to customize and tailor every single application that you put forward. If you start with that, you substantially increase the odds of getting at least a callback rejection letter. One thing you can do that I especially love is creating a Loom video, right? It's a little screen recording, walking people through your resume, showing them what you do and saying, hey, thank you so much. My name is Nathan Sevich. I know that you're watching this because I created this specialized video for Delta Corp. And I just want to say thank you so much. Here's what I've done on my resume. If you have any questions, love to answer them on the first interview or even a qualification call. Have a good day. Something as simple as that really helps you stand out. Number 2, limited search. You were only applying to jobs on popular job boards and not utilizing networking or niche job sites. An amazing example of this is the WeWork remote job board. Right? There's tons of job boards out there. You want to go look for those. Incredibly powerful. Number 3, you have a poor online presence. You're not leveraging LinkedIn or other professional networks and having an unprofessional digital footprint. I'm going to tell you this. Whether people like it or not, if you're somebody that seems like a decent candidate, people will look you up on LinkedIn. And if you have no history there or anything along those lines, you're hurting yourself. You want to do everything you can to add your LinkedIn and just take it seriously, for lack of other words. If I'm you, as somebody who's entry level coming in, I'm making a ton of posts and staying relevant, talking about what I'm doing. Hey, I just created 10 pieces of content for this farmer. I just created 20 pieces of content for this local supplement store. This is what it looks like. Hey, I just created this software. I submitted this on GitHub. Check this out. You want to show people that you are building stuff and you're showing the world. That's realistically the purpose of LinkedIn. You have interest alignment. I think this might be the most important thing here. It's either this or the next one. You're looking for opportunities where your past experience, hobbies, and interest align with the job you're searching for. I really want to say that again. You're looking for areas or opportunities where your job lines or your previous experiences, interests, and hobbies line up with that job. So to give a little bit of example, I train in jiu-jitsu. That's why I have these ugly ears. That's why I have scratches on my face all the time. Don't judge me too much, okay? People always say this. So if I'm me, what I would look for is, hey, I'm going to find marketing or software engineering opportunities related to combat sports, related to sports, anything along those lines. Because not only do I have the skills for that company, I understand the industry. I understand that there are unique things within that product people are going to want, and I can bring things to the table. I've made so many hires based off interest alignment because it just made sense. I knew that the training and onboarding period will go substantially faster. This person's going to understand who I'm trying to work with more. This person has a fit that nobody else does. Understand that when you're hiring a new individual, and a lot of this is me teaching you the employer side, right? My job is to educate employers on how to hire individuals and train them and bring them into their company. It's also for the employees, yourself, how to be a great fit for those employers, how to get that job, how to get that pay raise, all of those things. Now, understanding that, what you just want to make sure you're doing is you're reaching out, you're finding jobs where you can align and you could really sell that difference. Now, moving on to number 2 is how do you leverage your referrals? So this is a hidden secret that we teach here at Devslopes. I'll give you a little bit of information so you have some context. What you want to do when you're finding a larger company, maybe a medium, small, even large size company you want to work at, what you're going to do, you're going to reach out to anywhere between 1 to 5 employees who work at that company, who have the exact same background as you. When I say exact same background, I'm talking about they don't have coding experience, they don't have marketing experience, they did not have a bachelor's degree relevant to that job. Anything similar to you in terms of patterns that both of you have. You didn't go to university, you both only went to high school, maybe you both were teachers, whatever that is. And you're going to reach out to them. Hey, Nathan, I saw that you work for XYZ Corp, that you don't have a bachelor's degree, but you now work with them as a software engineer. Can you tell me a little bit about your journey? It'd mean a lot to me. And guess what? People who made those transitions, they love to tell their story. They love it. So that's what one of the goals is. Then you sit, you have a conversation with them. At the very end, you say, hey, Steve, I want to ask a real quick question. Can I show you my resume real quickly and just get your feedback on it? Yeah, sure. So you sit down, you show them the resume. They look at the resume, and then you say, hey, Steve, not to be a competition or anything, but I'm just trying to get an idea of where I'm sitting. Looking at this resume, do you think that maybe I'm close to maybe the level that you were when you first started that company? Man, honestly, I think you're a little bit better. You're close to where I was. You're better in this area, not as good in this area. I think you need to improve this. Boom. Now you have a reference point to what they're looking for an entry-level hire, and you know what you need to improve on from somebody who has been there. These are the secret keys nobody talks about. What people also don't tell you is referrals make up the vast majority of hires at almost every company. Referrals are your back door in, and we'll talk much more about this at a later time. So now we understand, number 1, how to bridge the professional gap. We also understand the importance of a job search strategy. You do not want to follow the quitters and the losers job search strategy. I can't wait, by the way, to clip that part and put it on LinkedIn. I'm so tired of these losers giving advice. They really don't care about people at the end of the day. It's really just terrible. So these are 3 reasons why you won't get hired as an entry-level developer. We've covered reason number 1, we've covered reason number 2, and now we're going to cover the longest one, right? If you want to get that entry-level job, paying $75,000 plus, this is the hardest skill I'm about to walk you through, and it's going to take time. This is one of the reasons behind 24 months. And the 3rd reason is communication skills. Again, my goal with my teaching is either going to be concept mapping or mind mapping. This is a conceptual video. We'll mind map later and teach very, very specifics. But right now, we're going through communication skills. So I'm going to zoom in. I want you to take very, very, very close attention on what we're covering. So this is the ability to convey information and effectively and efficiently in the workplace, express yourself, right? So we're going to start with verbal communication. You have these are things that are going to hurt you, right? So you need to do the opposite of these, obviously. You have an inability to articulate thoughts clearly during interviews or just in general. So you need to be able to articulate how you feel. The first thing I'm going to show you that relates to this is a journal. This is my 2nd journal in probably the past year. This is filled up with tons of thoughts, everything I go through. And I'll create a video a little bit later on going through explicitly kind of my articulation process. But the reason why I journal is to get thoughts from my head on paper and to describe how I feel and what I think. You may not think this is a big deal. You may be sitting here like, dude, I just want to figure out how to get a job. Here's the reality. Most of you in job interviews do horrible. You over-explain, you under-explain, you're awkward, you're a little strange. You don't separate who you are personally from who you need to be professionally. You bring way too many things to the interview process. A lot of you need a complete default reset. The meta to getting that job interview is what I'm teaching right now. Learning how to articulate yourself is the meta to getting a job with terrible skills. I'm going to say that one more time. The meta, the best strategy to getting a job when you don't have great skills is high soft skills, high articulation skills, high persuasion skills. And these can be developed at a wildly rapid rate just through taking time. And I'm sorry, I know on the screen right now I have a handful of weird things popping up if you're seeing the video version of this. But the real reason for this is being able to describe in clear detail a wide variety of things. And even being able to say, yeah, I really don't know what this is. Can you walk me through it by chance? You'd be wildly surprised how much more employers are willing to work with you by doing that. So, verbal skills. Number 2 is written communication. So a lot of you have poor resumes and your email writing skills are atrocious. I want to hit home real quickly on this poor resumes. The amount of resumes I've gone through that for a marketing position and they're talking about their job experience as a, let's say, a server, right? And they're not relating the two. Or like, for example, we hired somebody not too long ago. That, what was it that was on his resume? Give me a second. We hired somebody that put on his resume that he was proficient in Google Sheets, and it was completely irrelevant. It was out of nowhere. It was such an odd thing. What you want to avoid in written communication, especially your resume, is just strange things. Your resume is less about really pointing out what you're amazing at, and it's great at pointing out, is this person strange? And what I mean by that is, do they not understand social norms? On hand on the Bible, I had somebody once put on a resume that they were interested in anime and hentai. Unbelievable. If you don't know what it is, it doesn't matter, right? If you do know what it is, you understand what I mean now. You want to avoid these just grave screw-ups. You just don't want to scream that you're strange. And a lot of you, again, it's okay. A lot of you are trying to understand how to get in the professional world for the first time. And I'm going to guide you through it. It's going to be a little odd. You're going to learn how to put on maybe like a small thing like this, look a little professional, put on just a plain black shirt with no graphics on. All of these things tie into your communication skills, how you portray yourself, your self-image. These things matter. Moving on to number 3, self-awareness and communication. So having an understanding of your strengths and weaknesses of one's communication style according to the DISC assessment. All of you can take a DISC assessment online. It's incredibly cheap. I don't have the book right beside me. There's a book recommendation I'll give you at the end. But the DISC test is incredibly, incredibly powerful. And the reason why I want each and every one of you to take the DISC test. The DISC test is going to show you what your strengths and your weaknesses are. Most importantly, when you go into interviews, a lot of you are going to meet with people that you don't like, you don't vibe with, you don't get along with. They're just strange. They're different people from you. It's understanding, hey, it's okay. It's nothing personal against you. It's that they're just different from you, right? And the more that you understand, hey, my strength is having stability, being a real team player, having great communication. One thing that isn't a big strength for me is I don't like a lot of things changed on me at once, right? So when I'm working in a work environment, I want things to be relatively stable. And if things do change, I just want to know why they're changed so I can understand how to work best with it. These are the things that if you have a strong understanding of it, employers are going to be like, yeah, this guy's self-aware. he's easy to work with. This girl knows what she's talking about in terms of how to work in a team environment. So going back over here, what I really care about for all of you is the importance of understanding which one you fall into. So you have the dominance aspect. This is a red. This is someone who's really direct, they're strong-willed, and forceful. A good example of this, I'm a dominant person. I'm a direct, I'm a D. One of the problems is we will sometimes take action or say things without considering other people, right? And that will put people down. It's really domineering. And it will scare people off from giving feedback. And these are the people most likely to be surrounded by idiots. You get surrounded by yes men at the end of the day. Nobody wants this. And odds are you're going to interview with a handful of people that are like this. So you need to understand, hey, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? How can I manipulate myself around this situation? How can I communicate with them? How can I make them love me? What do they need to hear to be impressed by me? How can I sell myself to them? How can I market myself to them? How can I position myself to be the best fit because of who this person is? Right? That person, if you understand their POV, if you understand the lens that they look at the world, you can then position yourself within that lens. Even though you don't have the skills of the other people, you can position yourself to look like the best hire to them. Are you catching on to what I'm saying? We've talked about professional gap. We talked about how to find the right job. Now we're talking about the positioning game. Communicating your skills and how to know who you're interviewing with, how to kind of tell about their nature just as a human, and how to say, okay, this person is honestly really dominant. They probably want somebody who's going to say, hey, that's a great idea. How can I support you more? They don't want to hear about all your thoughts and opinions. They want to care about the results. How can you help the bottom line? Once you start learning how to speak in their language, in the entry-level world, your world opens up. No one tells you about this stuff because no one's looking at human nature and the business world, right? That's what I'm here for. Let's connect these two. I'm your mentor to show you these specific aspects. So, again, strengths include leadership and decision-making abilities. Their weaknesses include being overly aggressive or impatient. What it's not saying right here is hyper-focused on results. They're super results oriented and they don't care about spending all of their time thinking of fun ideas. So understanding that, you can work around them. And we're going to have so many videos coming out talking about this in more detail. Then we're going to go to I. These are people who are sociable, talkative, and they're lively, right? They love influence. They love being outgoing. They're the life of the party type people. Their strengths, they're incredibly persuasive and they're enthusiastic and they love being wildly creative. These are your super outgoing creative people. Their weaknesses include being perceived as superficial or not detail-oriented, right? These people are not going to be the most detail-oriented people. So if somebody's saying, yeah, I'm a hyper-creative person, being able to step in and say, hey, I love that. I'm somebody who's exceptionally detail-oriented, and it seems like I could really compliment you guys here. You may not be the most detail-oriented person, but odds are you're substantially more detail-oriented than them. So that's a win across the board. Again, you found a selling point within that conversation. You're plugging how you can help out. These are the hidden things within every interview, especially at the entry level for small to medium-sized businesses, that you have to find a way to negate and kind of put yourself in the conversation. Now, S, these are your greens. They're gentle. They want stability. They're really soft-hearted. Quite frankly, these are people who just go with the flow, right? Their strengths include being supportive and great listeners. They're not decisive, though. These are people who want stability. They want to be given a plan, and they just want to be told what to do and how to execute on that. By the way, this makes up about 70% of all the workforce. Hey, I just want to know where to go. I just want to be told what to do, and I'll knock it out. And then just leave me alone. Give me the detail. Give me the plan. I'll take care of it from there, right? Their strengths, like I said, supportive and great listeners. Potential weaknesses include difficulty with change and indecisiveness, right? That's a big problem as well. Hey, they can struggle when you change things. So if you're dealing with a red who might change things and not give a shit about what you think, you need to be mindful about what happens when they say, hey, we're a fast-paced environment. How do you adapt to change? If you're somebody who isn't great at that, you need to understand, hey, I'm not perfect with it, But if I have good communication and there's some good documentation on what to follow, I have no issues with it whatsoever. See, you took your weakness, but you also showed them how we can adapt that weakness to who they are and what you need. Finally, the conscientious group, right? These are the private, analytical, and logical people. This is your HR, your data analysis, your operations groups, right? Their strengths include being detail-oriented and analytical. Their potential weaknesses, they're overly critical and indecisive under pressure. So if you're dealing with somebody like this, they're going to seem cold. They're going to seem like they don't care about you. They're black and white. Hey, did you do it by the book or not? I don't care if you got the right results I wanted. Did you do it this way or not? You didn't do it this way? That's a problem. Let's go meet over here. We're going to talk about the right way to do this. Well, I got the job done. Why do you care about? Because I want to see the job done in my way. That's who these people are. All they care about is compliance and doing things their way and having a system. So also understanding, hey, I have a thing to do things, but I'm really adaptable. So if you're looking for someone who can come in, adapt to your system, I have no issue doing that. So they want people who will follow their system. So all of this is about adapting communication and the importance of adapting one's communication style to the audience or situation for more effective interaction, especially in job interviews and in workplace circumstances. So everything that I just walked you through right now, this is a masterclass. We're going to have so many more videos going through this in much more detail. What I need you to be mindful of, I need this, is understanding yourself better. I need you to take the DISC assessment. I have a book recommendation for you immediately right now too. This book is Surrounded by Idiots. I know it sounds terrible. It's not a terrible book. It's an amazing book. I believe this book has kind of changed my life for the most part. And the reason why, it's helping me get a better understanding of behaviors and accepting them. What I mean by that is that if you're somebody who's quiet, you have to be able to work with extroverted people. If you're somebody who's really go with the flow and you have somebody step in who's incredibly dominant, you need to understand how to work with them. Not say that guy's an asshole or that person's too uptight. This person likes to force their way. That person won't stop trying to give opinions. You don't want to do that. When it comes to the professional workplace, you need to be as connected to the truth and reason as possible. The truth is, it's very easy to navigate this world. The problem is, we get in the way so much because we have our lens that we view the world through that we can't take a step back. If you can learn how all these people act, you can learn how to adjust and adapt to each one of them on your communication style and manipulate the situation so that you win. All of this is about is learning how to put yourself in a position to win. At the end of the day, the workforce is an incredibly competitive place. My goal is to give you an unfair advantage. I don't care about being fair. I care about getting the results we want, which is why the personality type I have, and helping you win. Because I understand when you come from a low-income minority community, this shit's hard. No one's behind you helping you out. It's not like you have tons of money from family and friends. You have to figure it out by yourself. So, if you want to win, these are the 3 things you need to directly address. Professional gap, job search process, right? And your communication style. You knock out these 3 things, you're going to be good to go. Keep following this channel. Do not forget to subscribe. I'm going to be giving so much information on manipulation strategies that are ethical to help you get the job. Same thing for employers on how to find people who are unethical, who don't have the experience, who are blatantly lying on their resumes. Everything is going to be covered. This is how I built a company from 0 to 16 million in revenue now. This is how I went from somebody growing up in a cotton field to CEO of a large company to getting my first job paying $70,000 by 21 with no experience. I'm going to show you all of these strategies. So stay tuned. I'll talk to you later. Thanks so much for watching.